नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। मेरे साथ हैं लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल राज शुक्ला हु विल एक्सप्लेन टू अस दुनिया में इस रीजन में क्या चल रहा है, व्हाट इज द जियोपॉलिटिक्स, आगे क्या होने वाला है इस पूरे गेम के अंदर। ऑल्दो वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग दिस शो ऑन द डे जब सीज फायर सो कॉल्ड हैज बीन पुट अक्रॉस, बट आगे क्या होगा, व्हाट आर द स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एंड हैव दे बीन मेट, ये चीजें अभी अब हमको समझनी पड़ेंगी। सर जी नमस्कार, वेलकम टू द शो।
नमस्कार आदि, कैसे हैं आप?
वंडरफुल सर, थैंक यू सो मच। सर, आपको क्या लगता है ये जो इजराइल ने अटैक लॉन्च करा था, व्हाट वाज द स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑब्जेक्टिव, उसका क्या था, मेन पर्पस क्या था?
देखो, मेन पर्पस तो वही था। ये जो पूरा खेल है ना, आई थिंक इट इज द जीनियस ऑफ सुलेमानी एंड द जीनियस ऑफ नेतन्याहू। थोड़ा पीछे चलते हैं, देन विल कम द करंट सिचुएशन। ईरान के ये जो पूरा खेल है ईरान का, इसके पीछे एक आदमी था, कासिम सुलेमानी। तो कासिम सुलेमानी ने क्या किया, ही सेड देखो, ईरान को सुरक्षित करने के लिए हम ये प्रॉक्सीज क्रिएट करेंगे, उनको आप ऑक्टोपस बोल दो, टेंटिकल। सो द हेड ऑफ द टेंटिकल वाज ईरान और द हेड ऑफ द ऑक्टोपस वाज ईरान, बट वो जो टेंटिकल्स थे, हमास, हिजबुल्ला, हुथीज और सीरिया। और ही टोल्ड हिज बॉसेस आयतुल्ला वगैरह को कि मैं आपको ये कॉरिडोर दूंगा 1000 मील, 1500 मील का, और we will fill it with our proxies and we will keep Israel on the defensive. How? हम ऐसे हम proxies तैयार करेंगे और इनको मिसाइल्स देंगे। We will make sure that सीरिया के थ्रू उनके पास लगातार सप्लाईज रहे, सीरिया की वजह से इजराइल को एयर कॉरिडोर डिनाई हो, और अगर कभी इजराइल ने हम पर डायरेक्ट हमला किया तो फिर वी विल अनलीश दीज प्रॉक्सीज। और इनके पास इतनी मिसाइल हैं, ये फायर करेंगे, इजराइल की डिफेंसिव एयर डिफेंसेस ओवरवेल्म हो जाएंगी, और इस डर से कभी इजराइल हम पर डायरेक्ट हमला नहीं करेगा। बट सबसे पहले आई थिंक ट्रम्प 1.0 में उसने एक कमाल कर दिया कि सुलेमानी को निकाल दिया। ईरान हैज नॉट फाउंड अ रिप्लेसमेंट ऑफ सुलेमानी। एंड आई थिंक बिकॉज उसका वो जो जीनियस था, वो पूरा स्ट्रेटेजिक विजन जब चला गया, ईरान एक के बाद एक गलती करता है। पहली गलती हुई वो अक्टूबर 2023 में, जब उसने हमास को छेड़ा। हमास ने जो किया और कुछ ज्यादा हो गया। अभी आता है नेतन्याहू का जीनियस। मेरा तो ये मानना है नेतन्याहू ने उस दिन से ये तान लिया कि भाई अब इन सबको निकालना है और घर में घुस के ईरान को। अमेरिका ने साथ दिया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो खुद करेंगे, और ऐसी चाल चलेंगे कि अमेरिका को भी साथ लेके चलेंगे। तो ये कहानी तब की है। जहां तक ट्रम्प का सवाल है, यू मे नॉट एग्री विद दिस, ये ट्रम्प का सिंपलिस्टिक लॉजिक है। ट्रम्प का सिंपलिस्टिक लॉजिक क्या है कि भाई वो ईरान को, ही इज बीन सेइंग फॉर लॉन्ग, यार तुम्हारे पास, यू आर सिटिंग ऑन द वर्ल्ड सेकंड लार्जेस्ट गैस रिजर्व्स, आपके पास सब दुनिया की तीसरी बड़ी तेल शक्ति हो, ऑयल पावर, गैस है, ऑयल है आपके पास, यू आर 3 times द साइज ऑफ फ्रांस, 90 मिलियन आपके लोग हैं, आप तरक्की करो, मेरे को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन आपके पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन नहीं होना चाहिए। दैट वाज ए स्ट्रेट डील। और उसने ये भी कहा, यार तुम्हें न्यूक्लियर वेपन चाहिए क्यों, न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी तुमको चाहिए नहीं, तुम्हारे पास तो तेल है, गैस है, तुम्हें न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी क्यों चाहिए। दिस वाज ए सिंपलिस्टिक लॉजिक। और उसने मन में ये बना लिया कि बस इनको न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स नहीं इनके पास होने चाहिए, बाकी सब ठीक है। न्यूक्लियर वेपन से कुछ तो इजराइल को खतरा है, बाकी लोग जो भी हैं, गल्फ स्टेट्स जो इसके दोस्त हैं अभी, यूएई, सऊदी अरेबिया वगैरह, वो भी नहीं चाहते कि ईरान के पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स, बिकॉज इट ऑल्टर्स द होल, not only regional balance, look at the global balance. North Korea is showing 2 fingers to Trump and to America just because it has nuclear weapons. तो अभी इसमें मॉरल लॉजिक कोई नहीं है कि इजराइल के पास है तो ईरान के पास क्यों ना हो। ये है ट्रम्प का सिंपलिस्टिक लॉजिक। अच्छा, नेतन्याहू ने अब वो जो खेल शुरू किया, पहले तो हमास को तबाह किया, फिर हिजबुल्लाह को तबाह किया, हिजबुल्लाह में नसरुल्लाह। अब आप देखिए उनकी क्या इंटेलिजेंस है। मैं आपको एक मिसाल देता हूँ। आई एम टोल्ड कि 2006 से आज तक, या 2006 से जब तक नसरुल्लाह का देहांत नहीं हुआ, हर रोज उनको पता था कि नसरुल्लाह आज यहां सो रहा है, आज वहां सो रहा है, आज यहां सो रहा है। दिस इज इनक्रेडिबल। और जब आप इस पे नहीं विश्वास करेंगे तो अभी अभी तो कर लीजिए, जिस तरह उसने IRGC को निकाला, उसको पता था कि कहां सो रहे हैं। 15 जनरल्स, 10 टॉप साइंटिस्ट्स। और देखिए साइकोलॉजिकली क्या इस पे खेल होता है। आजकल एक सोशल मीडिया पे चल रहा है, पता नहीं क्या हकीकत है या डरावने के लिए, मोसाद एजेंट्स आर रिंगिंग अप IRGC जनरल्स एंड सेइंग कि भाई आप अपनी फैमिली के साथ निकल जाइए। जब 15 वो उड़े हैं, आई पुट माई सेल्फ इन दैट प्लेस यार, एवरीबडी विल बी स्केर्ड कि यू डोंट नो ये कब निकाल दें। सो दिस इज दिस इज सी द सीरियस क्वेश्चन हियर इज, इंडिया से पूछो, हम बोलते हैं हमारे पास इतनी सैटेलाइट्स है, हमें क्या करना है। इट्स नॉट अ मैटर ऑफ सैटेलाइट्स, इट्स हाउ यू कन्वर्ट दैट इनटू ISR डोमिनेंस। It is aggressive leveraging of space combined with int. ये मोसाद और यूनिट 9200, 8200, 9300 का कमाल है। और ये 40 साल की मेहनत है, 30-40 साल की। मान लो हमारे पास ये क्षमता होती, वी न्यू बहावलपुर कोर कमांडर आज कहाँ सो रहा है, DGISI कहाँ सो रहे हैं, मसूद अजहर कहाँ है, नॉट मसूद अजहर ब्रदर इन लॉज, वेयर इज मसूद अजहर, और हमको पता होता तो ये क्या करते दहशत। They will think 30 times. So we have to, these are the lessons and we have to grow these capacities. But anyway, we straight. तो अभी जब उसने ये सब कर लिया, अब देखिए दो जो स्ट्राइक्स हुई थी अप्रैल 2024 में और अक्टूबर 2024 में, उसने धीरे धीरे करके इसका AD निकाला, S-300s, and Iran was lying naked and exposed. अब देखिए ईरान के पास बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल्स हैं, लोग अंदाजा लगाते हैं 3500 बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल्स थी। इनको ईरान का गेम ये था, या ईरान हैड प्रेडिक्टेड इट्स होल वॉर फाइटिंग ऑन दिस, दैट आई हैव 3500 मिसाइल्स, Israel has AD interceptors which are decreasing. I have enough missiles to overwhelm the AD. That was the game. अब उसमें कुछ तो हकीकत हुई है कि जब इस बार lot of missiles have got through, or let me say at least 20-25% have got through. So even their great Iron Dome, Arrow 2, Arrow 3 third, it's not invincible. ऐसा नहीं कि उसको कोई ईरान भेद नहीं कर पाया, but not in the volumes. And they didn't have the int anywhere near it, Israel. So intelligence, ISR dominance is the key. अगर उनको पता होता नेतन्याहू साहब कहाँ हैं, उनके जनरल्स कहाँ हैं, तो अस्पताल पे थोड़ी ना मारते। They would have hit these people. So it is a matter of technological asymmetry. दूसरी बात, मतलब एक, I want to raise a question with you, that what have been they doing since October 2024? आपको पता था कि इजराइल आपको मारेगा, आप तो चीन ने क्या मदद की इनकी, रशिया ने क्या मदद की। रशिया को इन्होंने इतने शहजाद ड्रोन्स दिए थे, आइदर दे कुडंट और दे डिडंट। अभी प्यूटिन कह रहा है कि भाई रशियंस आर इन इजराइल, अरे दैट्स नॉट द इशू, यू टुक सो मेनी शहजाद ड्रोन्स फ्रॉम देम, now these are the issues. एक बड़ी बात करते हैं जियोपॉलिटिक्स की। जो लास्ट वीक आई वाज इन DC, तो ये सारी चर्चाएं हो रही थी, ट्रम्प का जो मागा कैंप है उसमें माजोरी ग्रीन, स्टीव बैनन, बड़े लोग हैं, वो कह रहे थे कि भाई डोंट अटैक, बिकॉज आपने वादा किया था, आपका चुनावी जो मुद्दा था वो ये था कि साहब नो मोर एंडलेस वॉर्स, नो मोर गेटिंग इन्वॉल्व, सो डोंट हिट, यू विल गेट सक्ड इन। और वहां ये लोग कह रहे थे कि भाई नेतन्याहू इज मेकिंग अ मंकी आउट ऑफ यू, ही इज ड्रैगिंग यू इन। तो ये सब अटकलें थी, बट आई थिंक व्हाट ट्रम्प हैज, अच्छा दूसरी बात, अभी आप ये दोनों सुपर पावर्स को कंपेयर कीजिए। USA, no matter what it does, gets sucked in. Ukraine, I mean, not directly, but a lot of their military wherewithal is going. Iran would have been very dangerous if they had got sucked in a deeper manner. They still could, but abhi to asar kam nazar aa rahe. And look at China. Now there are two ways of looking at China. One view is that they follow great strategic discipline. Strategic discipline क्या है? Where it matters, Taiwan, वहां तो पूरा military wherewithal है. और वहां पारो अलग से चिल्ला रहा है कि भाई they are no longer exercises, they are rehearsals for attack. मैं आपको एक आंकड़ा देता हूँ. 2022 में ये एक्सरसाइजेस में 2 ब्रिगेड पार्ट लेती थी. आज 42 ब्रिगेड्स हैं. 2022 में 1/3 of the amphibious force was employed. Now 2/3 of the employed force is employed. अभी ये 42 ब्रिगेड एम्फीबियस फोर्स एक्सरसाइज करते करते 30 जून तक कहीं ये एक्सरसाइज अटैक ना हो जाए. There is no difference left between exercise and attack. May have
तो सीरीज भी उधर ही जा रहा है ना. Now it's all, this area is all saturated हो गया. अभी next इधर ही है.
अभी जो ये बात कहते हैं China practices great strategic discipline. Beyond its periphery, no military. BRI कर दो, सामान दे दो, but their troops will not get committed. So US, where it is getting committed at more and more places and losing focus on the Indo-Pacific, and China practicing strategic discipline. But इसका एक और जवाब ये है, और मेरा मायने में ये है कि देखिए, unless you dirty yourself in the military sand, you will not become a great power. You can be as smart as you think you are. So ये चीजें हैं. और इस पृष्ठभूमि में, after Israel what it did, I mean, it weakened their defenses, it prepared this whole area, and I think Netanyahu told Trump, come and take it out. And Trump had told the Iranians कि देखो भाई 60 days, 61st day I will attack. अब अमेरिका में लोग क्या कह रहे थे, इसकी मजाक बना रहे थे. कह रहे थे देखो आपने कितनी बार बोल दिया 2 weeks, nothing happened 2 weeks. So वहां पे एक टर्म घूम रहा है, टैको. Trump always chickens out. टैको. इस बार भी बात हो रही थी टैको. But Trump, this time and see this whole thing, अभी ऊपर से तो ऐसे ही लगता है कि they have been obliterated. But you will never know because you don't know what has happened deep below. 60 feet क्या हुआ. कुछ और अटकलें भी लग रही हैं कि भाई ये चीन के 5 जहाज गए थे, क्या इन्होंने पूरा एनरिच्ड यूरेनियम निकाल लिया 4 दिन पहले. मेरा ये मानना है, you can push it back, but you cannot take out the nuclear program. तो यार लोगों 10 साइंटिस्ट निकालोगे, 10 और आ जाएंगे. They have the real people who know the game, who John Bolton वगैरह कहते हैं कि once you cross 3% enrichment, 3 to 60 and 60 to 90 is no challenge. If you get reactor grade enrichment, weapons grade enrichment is no issue.
Not far away.
If you stop a nation, do it at the first 3%. उसके बाद ये सब technical है, 60%, 90%, just a matter of time. So if they have the scientists, और देखो यार, ईरान की खामियां तो हैं. I mean, I'm questioning what do you do since October, but it is a 6,000-year-old civilization. उसको आप डरा नहीं सकते. अगर उसने ठान लिया भाई कि हमने, तो ये ceasefire वगैरह के बावजूद, they will get back to it. They will enrich it and produce a bomb. And the day they have a bomb and a missile which can target USA, the whole equation will change.
Yes, sir.
That is a matter of time. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. But as far as the strike is concerned, मानना पड़ेगा, it was well executed. देखिए इस बार डिकॉय किया. पहले वो B2 भेजे डिएगो गार्सिया 2-3 महीने पहले. अभी उस दिन जो 14 निकले हैं, 7 गए हैं गुआम की तरफ. And the entire American media was saying कि they will come from Guam. और उसी टाइम 7 B2 इन्होंने निकाल दिए हैं direct towards Israel. And these 7 B2s, they have traveled 18 hours one way, 36 hours two way, and got in without detection. So stealth has worked. जब ये land Israel, when they reach the land space, CENTCOM की ये जो 5th generation, 4th generation fighters थे, they came as strike, sweep, escort packages. जो ये refueling is not so easy, 2 to 3 refuelings en route. Trump, I believe, was very strong on operational security because Americans are famous for leaking. Media ke through. Now, no leaks happened. This is fully creditworthy. और जिस तरह से इन्होंने किया, see, this is what we have to understand. It is just not US air power. This is Stratcom, Transportation Command, Space Command, Cyber Command, EW. हमारे लोग समझते नहीं हैं. We think it is air power. No, it is air power which is integrated in this manner. So B2s came from Stratcom. The refuelers came from the Transportation Command. Space, because they have made it they call it a domain of war fighting. They don't call it enablers like us. So the satellite positioning, revisit time, so you get that precision accuracy. ISR dominance. अब देखिए मैं आपको एक कहानी बताता हूँ. April 1980. 52 Americans are taken hostage by Iran. The revolution when it is new. So the Americans say what? We are the world's strongest military. Operation Eagle Claw.
Yep.
अब उस टाइम पे CENTCOM तैयार नहीं थे, theaters बने नहीं थे. They were not integrated. In fact, they were just in the state that we are today. We have a CDS. They had a permanent joint chiefs of staff. So single point advice. No structures to execute the advice. तो ये task force बनता है जैसे हमारे यहाँ बनता है. One ground force commander, one aviation force commander. 4 महीने रिहर्सल करते हैं. 4 महीने. और उसके बाद, because they are not truly integrated, the fights are so petty कि साहब जब helicopter moves from the ocean to the land, who will be the captain? Will it be the Navy? Because we are taking off from there. Now, I'm not saying we are so bad, but we should realize the value of theaterization.
Learn.
So there were theaters, this kind of coordination. What happens out of 8 hectares, only 5 reach Desert 1, the first staging area. When there is a helicopter at Desert 1, something goes wrong, lack of coordination, it goes into a C-130. C-130 में 8 American servicemen killed. All 5 hectares abandoned, captured by the Iranians. So an operation is abandoned even before it is launched.
Yep.
And it is such a disaster that President Carter loses the election. So it was such a disaster when you were not integrated, you did have theaters, and it leads to a military reversal, strategic embarrassment, political defeat. Abhi aap dekhiye, now that they have 30 years of integration, Barry Goldwater Nichols, experience of Gulf War 1, 2, look at this flawless operation. Stratcom, Transportation Command, Space, Cyber, EW. 1 घंटे पहले, before the main strike which happened at 2:10 a.m. Iranian time, the nuclear submarines ex-CENTCOM fire a barrage of missiles, Tomahawks. So apart from these, 14 MOPs, 2 on Fordo exclusively, and then 14 distributed on Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. Before this, you have 24 Tomahawks, 75 PGMs, and a 125 aircraft, large striker and all that fleet. तो ये सिर्फ B2B2 नहीं है, ये पूरा कमाल है ये. Communications, refueling, no leakage of information, cyber, and then clean entry and clean exit. So insofar as the military orchestration is concerned, it is perfect. The other issue is that whether those MOPs will have actually gone so deep and blown those centrifuges out, taken out that uranium, that is a question mark. मेरे को तो question mark लगता है, the Americans are claiming obliteration and all. Look at the statement of the IAEA chief. He has said there has been no uptick in the radiation activity. तो अगर कुछ मारा होता, कुछ तो होता है.
So I think Iranians बोल रहे हैं हमको निकाल के ले गए सारा कुछ.
Exactly. So it is either a good operation, but more of dazzle than substance.
Yeah.
But for us, the things we must see. Why theaterization has to be done? Why you need space cyber upgraded? Why you must have ISR dominance? हमारे argument क्या है कि सर satellites है तो सर काम चल रहा है. अरे काम चलने वाली बात नहीं है. If you have to get that, what I say, ISR dominance, we need massive revamp in our int. Do we have these kind of capacities? Let us see all these. So AD, हमारे यहाँ argument क्या है AD का? Sir, we are so large. You are so large. So tell me, when Israel में, when Haifa is hit, can Netanyahu say that no, Tel Aviv is protected, Haifa is being hit, what can I do? If you are large, you have to invest. Like the Americans are investing in that Golden Dome, that fancy $175 billion enterprise. देखो ये ट्रम्प जैसे लोगों के साथ ना ये फायदा है, वो मैवरिक है. अगर उसने बोल दिया गोल्डन डोम तो वो निकाल लेगा 175 बिलियन. अगर उसने बोल दिया B2 स्ट्राइक तो कर देगा. Now he has many maverick qualities, but these are the good qualities. A strong man. And एक message तो चला गया. Chinese and Russians also must have learned this message, that American military power projection is back. See, they are telling you now that you can take off from USA, go to any point in the world, strike and come back. Nobody, meets nobody has these kind of capabilities. And if the B2 converts to the B-21 radar, which I'm told also is in the offing, it is a significant step. And one last point I want to make: look at this new security architecture. With a competent partner, regional partner like Israel, see how you can keep hegemons in place. Now, I'm not making it, I've got nothing against Iran. I'm just making a point that with a competent regional partner, which has a basically competent military, उसको आपने कुछ मदद कर दी, THAAD के जरिए, in satellites, all that. And if you have interoperability, see how you can combine and take an operation to an. Now, in the Indian context, we have to see. देखो चीन को ये बाइडू सब रेडीमेड मिल जाता है चाइना से, स्पेस इंट वगैरह. अगर हम किसी के साथ पार्टनर नहीं करेंगे, आई एम नॉट सेइंग एनी वन कंट्री, if you don't partner with anyone, then you create these capacities. But if you don't partner and you don't create these capacities of space, CW, cyber and all, you are in a problem even with Pakistan. So it is not platforms any longer. कि भाई आपने रफाल ले लिए. अरे प्लेटफॉर्म के साथ EW, cyber, communication, space. If I am not mistaken, our Rafales don't talk to our Su-30s. The radio forms don't match. You can check it with some Air Force chap, but this is
now they've got that SATCOM communications systems is done.
But I hope it was going. I'm told there were some problems with it. But
there are issues, but more or less it's done, sir.
Okay, maybe. So these are the issues that we have to, take care of. And these are the lessons are pretty obvious now, commonsensical. So I'll get back to my old point. 3 things that we need immediately: stealth, enabled offensive air power. Without stealth, you cannot penetrate enemy defenses. See this penetration basically B2 stealth है, but it was also led by stealth platforms, F-35s. ईरान के पास भी है और US के पास तो है ही. Stealth enabled offensive air power. Drone missile force. They have to complement each other. And AD topology. 3 serious issues which we have to see. As if there is no tomorrow. Post energy के साथ.
So you mentioned AD, and AD बड़ा interesting है क्योंकि Russia has S-300s, Iran has S-300s. There is a rumor that Russia ने एक आधा squadron इनको S-400 का भी दिया है. पता नहीं दिया है कि नहीं दिया. But what is happening, sir? I mean, like the application of an S-400, even the Russians are not able to kind of get it right. Iranians could not get it right. What is the observation? I'm not saying Indians are great and this and that, but we did get our S-400s right. And even Russian analysts भी बोल रहे हैं यार तुमने किया क्या है? How is it working so well with you?
Exactly. So there is no doubt that in Sindoor our AD held, but that should not
make us do this.
But let's examine it in detail. The Pakis tried to take out that S-400 at Adhampur. They could not. They made many attempts. They could not.
Yeah.
And the Pakis, what surprises me was that if their claims are true that they had a great advantage on the first night, where were the J-10s and J-17s on the second, third night? So I don't think they had that kind of, or they were not willing to expose their aircraft, or they were not willing to expose their AD. So we were not tested. My thing is in the same manner. Now look at these Israelis have. What is layered AD? So you have an Iron Dome kind of stuff, which is city specific. And Iron Dome is linked by their Arrow 2, Arrow 3. In this whole interception game, most critical is Arrow 2, Arrow 3. Arrow 2. So Israelis are running out of this. And then they have got emergency THAAD, which is high altitude interception. So the Chinese missiles cannot be intercepted without a THAAD kind of system. And then you have MR-SAMs like Akash Tir and all that. So I'm saying you need much more layered AD, and you need much more of it to cover the whole country. This argument, see, this time we got away. Jammu वगैरह में उनके जो drones थे, third-rate drones थे. They were not penetrating drones. The whole game is to overwhelm a country's AD. Send ballistic crews together, drones together, so that the AD gets overwhelmed. And Iran this time, when it was a little more serious, has penetrated the Iranian AD, the Israeli AD.
Yes.
Now,
by the end of it, 60%, sir, Israelis themselves said, we can only intercept 60% of what comes.
Pura khel hai, this is numbers. You know, how many missiles do you have? Or you please check it. I have read this at 6, 7, 8 places, reinforced by many American think tanks, that the Chinese have a capacity of 10,000 cruise missile a week. मान लीजिए आप 7,000 भी ले लीजिए. Look, Iran with 3,000 ballistic missiles, what kind of problem it created? Now a country which can manufacture 5 to 7,000 cruise missiles a week, it will overwhelm your defenses. So there are one way is to have an AD topology to protect, and the other way is to have similar deterrence against him. So we need that deterrence. That deterrence is long drone missile force, what I keep saying. A drone missile force. And of course, stealth-enabled offensive air power, at least in the Pakistan situation, and also in the China situation. So Sindoor was good, but it was not such a severe test. Okay, let's take this now. It is pretty evident now that the Pakis are getting J-35s. They are getting HQ-19s, an advanced version of HQ-9. And they are getting some other good systems and missiles. So the air power balance can just alter in 4 or 5 months if they get it. And they have been, the Fizaya has been training with China for a long. So based on these facts, it is a matter of concern. We must do something about this. Ab final day ko kya hoga if suddenly PLA turns out to be all kind of fluff? Good news for us. But you can't base your things and all. You have to go by the data that you know. And that data tells me that we have to upgrade our AD. You're muted, yeah. Up muted.
Specifically on Iran, sir. I mean, they were caught napping the first night. Bilkul bhi.
See, one more thing we will do. Let me say this now. Iran has been grossly incompetent.
With the kind of capacity they had, I really thought, I mean, they've hit Israel, bड़ी बुरी तरह मारा है लोगों ने Israel को भी.
But जब भी इनको मारने की मौका मिला है, so it has turned out to be a damn squib. जैसे वो तुम कतार को बोल के मारते हो, यार, if your heart has been hit, you have to strike, even if it's America, strike it back seriously. They have come and hit you right in the center, यार.
ये तो फिक्स मैच था सर.
इतने दिनों से हम बोल रहे हैं, ये तो फिक्स मैच था कि they will Hormuz, oil infra. अगर आप कुछ करोगे ही नहीं, no, look at the IRGC. Let's take one more point. Iranian revolution के बाद, the Ayatollahs said, we don't want a professional army. We want an army which is personally loyal to us. loyal to our ideology, loyal to our cause. IRGC वही तो है. Now just see how this army has performed. Would not a professional army have performed better? Which is not so loyal to your cause, but loyal to the country's sovereignty. एक जनरल विज की किताब है, you must read it, Alone in the Ring. उसमें he makes two very interesting incidents, one with Prime Minister Vajpayee and one with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. So Prime Minister Vajpayee wants to commit Indian troops to Iraq, and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in another situation is contemplating pull out from Siachen. In both these occasions, they give a hearing to the professional military, General Vich, who's the chief then, and both Mr. Vajpayee and Dr. Manmohan Singh changed their opinions after professional advice. Now here is a professional military under political control. If the political directions was otherwise, the military would have complied. But credit has to be given that the military spoke truth to power, and the politicians had the sagacity to listen to it. Though we know in our case it's total political control. In fact, the whole phrase is that a civilian is right when he's wrong. A civilian has a right to be wrong. Now compare this with ideological militaries, that IRGC kind. They will not deliver in the long run. So I'm pointing out to the military mismanagement of Iran. इतने दिनों से तुमको पता है यार ये हो रहा है. अच्छा, and if you could not, why persist with a nuclear program if you can't protect it? Why do it in the first place? First, make sure your AD is powerful and all that, and then start this. So, there is mismanagement, and you have to give credit to Israel. Look at what their military has achieved, despite that huge blunder of October 2023, where their end failed. But they recovered fast and delivered. And the Americans also, bichare bade dino se people have been, banging their military. This operation was pretty good. Pretty good. I would say 9 out of 10.
May I ask you this? Do you think, American supremacy, hegemony, whatever you may want to put it as, this, I read a paper, multiple papers on Iran strategy in the past sometime. The one that resonated, एक Brookings का paper है. I'll send it to you. बड़ा एकदम literally on point. जो लिखा है वही हुआ है. It's happened like that only. When we see this, so this has been in plan for a long time. तो मतलब एक American plan है. Israelis obviously they have a regional issue, but this is an American plan to ensure this. And they're going step by step. The Russia-Ukraine thing now they're sorting out. ये जो सीरिया वाला हो गया, असाद गया, ईरान जो बचा हुआ था उसको ठोक दिया अभी. Now basically the pivot to Asia, धीरे-धीरे करके वो निकलने की वहां कोशिश करेंगे. But the first night when the Israelis struck, don't you think the Americans should have been there with them? भाई तुम्हारा प्लान है, तुम गए नहीं. और बेचारे इजरायली ठुक गए वहां पर बीच में. उनके घर टूट रहे हैं, उनका ये टूट रहा है, वो टूट रहा है. People are dying. And you decided to go enter on the 10th day, you bombed once and you walked off and declared victory. And then now you're saying Israel and Iran both came to me for a ceasefire. What happens to the American hegemony in something like this? आप अपने allies partners को ढंग से नहीं रखते तो बाकी किसको रखोगे?
Americans are straight. America has no friends, it only has interests. किससे उम्मीद कर रहे हो दोस्ती की? They don't believe in it. The debate in America was not this. Steve Bannon वगैरह तो वहां ये कह रहे थे कि Netanyahu, you started it, you finish it off. Don't drag us in. वहां तो उल्टी डिबेट थी कि भाई तुमने शुरू किया है. But I think here Trump was शुरू. Trump let these guys do it, and once it converted into success, he came out openly. And then he said कि यार ये मेरे लिए भी मौका है. उन्होंने they have done the dirty work for us. थोड़ा रिस्क ले लेते हैं, चलो ये फॉर दो कर देते हैं. So now let's understand Trump. He is nobody's friend. वो खुद कहता है there is even Putin is not my friend. He himself says that. Look at the monkey they made out of asymmetry. मतलब उसको lunch वंच खिला दिया. What humiliation! You have to be a fool to go and have lunch like that. और तो the day he was having lunch in Washington, I was saying यार अब तो clear है कि ये ईरान मारेगा. उसका इन्होंने grand story बना दिया कि he discussed how Iran can help. If you go to Pak social media, Asim Munir was planning to return to a triumphant return. But ये ईरान हो गया, सारे प्रोग्राम कैंसिल कर दिए. वो क्या नाम है उसका यार, मौलाना
फजलुर रहमान सर,
फजलुर रहमान, all they are demanding
Diesel.
accountability. Diesel. कह रहा है साहब, somebody gave this. बेवकूफ देखो, तुमने उसको नॉमिनेट भी कर दिया नोबेल प्राइज के लिए. फर्स्टली हु टेक्स यू सीरियसली, आई डोंट नो. और फिर लंच खा रहे हैं. एंड लुक एट द सी, आई गिव यू वन. I believe when Asim Munir met him, so Trump called Asim Munir and DGISI. The minister accompanying them, I think it was Khwaja Asif, was outside. Yeah. Anything more humiliating than this? Outside. So Pakistan, I mean, and where is the American, the Pakistani Foreign Service and Foreign Office? तुम कोई advice देते हो, तुम्हारी कोई सुनता है? So I mean, Pakistan is a joke. It's just a pest, but a serious pest. We have to fucking take care of. Sorry, we have to take care of him. But the issue is this. But I have said always, that Americans are transactional, so we must deal with them how. मेरा तो ये कहना है, they will never shed blood for you. They will never give you treasure. In a transactional manner, if you can get technologies from this, good enough. So it has to be this grand bargain on trade and technology, market access and all that. But America से दोस्ती की उम्मीद करना ही बेकार है. I mean, who has America stood by? अच्छा, even if stood by people in the past, not Donald J. Trump. So he's not standing with anyone. He's always either looking for a business deal or some peace deal, और तो कोई वो देखता ही नहीं. कुछ
वही एक चक्कर है ऐसा, दैट द ट्रांजैक्शनलिज्म व्हिच इज देयर, जो एक दरवाजे के पीछे होती थी अमेरिका की, वो सामने आ गई है. And that is very critical. So I want to ask you one last question in terms of the military. Israeli military capacity to fight is pretty interesting, and their air power 67, they won it with the air power. सबकी पीठें तोड़ दी थी इन लोगों ने. And that air power is obviously, a lot of people say, यार, oh, Israel has a lot of air power on its own, plus it's also augmented. अमेरिका से बहुत इनको हेल्प आती है, वेपन सिस्टम्स, ये वो सब कुछ उनके पास सब कुछ है. For us to say कि भाई हमको ऐसी एयर पावर चाहिए, I don't know if it's valid or not, but how should India look for something like that? I know, I mean, you'll say यार एफओस वाले से पूछ, but on a strategic level, I'm not talking about tactics, I'm talking about strategic level. How do we figure out something like this? How do we augment our forces? Drones, rockets?
Let me tell you 2 to 3 things which come to my mind immediately. See, is our strategic environment not even more challenging than Israel? Look at our problems. Pakistan, Turkey, Western Theatre Command, Maritime Theatre, either Bangladesh. Bangladesh is becoming a problem. It's becoming a national security reality. So I'm saying our strategic environment is grimmer than Israel. We are a larger economy than Israel. If they can afford air power, why can't we afford air power? So whatever we need, we must do it. But now when you talk of air power, it must not be done driven by turf. Air power doesn't mean only the Air Force. Air power also means AD topology. So if that is to come from the DGAD of the Indian Army, empower him. Air power also needs a drone missile force. Does the Indian Air Force have 50% of unmanned platforms? So certainly air power, but air power in this battle-winning sense. So we can be like Israel, our air power can be as formidable as Israel, but just buying platforms won't help. You need their ISR dominance, you need their int. So you perhaps need restructuring of RAW. Mossad alone has not done it. Mossad has done it with 8200, 9300. It's a new culture. You have to understand what 8200, 9300 are. 800, 9300, these people go around scouting to universities and colleges. They just pick the best minds. And they say, देखो हमारे यहाँ no minimum 5-year service, no such thing. 1 साल रहना है, 1 साल रहना, 2 साल रहना है, 2 साल. आप 2 साल बाद छोड़ के जाते हैं Silicon Valley, the IDF will maintain contacts with you and say whenever you are ready, come back. या वहाँ क्या हो रहा है मेरे को बताओ. Now this kind of cultural change is not there in our Indian military. MOD should be cross-pollinated. It can't have civil servants and armed forces officers today. The best mind in cyber should be in MOD. The best mind in space should be in MOD. So it is air power, but with all these enablers, of course we can do it. We are a larger economy than Israel. In fact, when we say we cannot be like them, we are making excuses. Have they made mistakes? Huge mistakes. What happened to them in October 2023? It was an embarrassment, but they recover. So a lot of this stuff can be done. We don't have to copy Israel. We have to embrace some of their attributes and adapt it to the Indian condition. And जब हम US की बात करते हैं, no, we must not ape the Americans. Don't ape them. Embrace their best practices. Air Force का जो argument है, unless we have assets, we cannot go become joint. It's got nothing to do with assets. It's just the modern way of fighting wars. It's mindset. So we can certainly be like them if we make all these changes. The Israelis do it because they know that their existence is threatened. We know that our existence is not so threatened, or at least we imagine so. I am now saying your threats are actually so grim that you need to make all these changes that Israel made. Of course you can do it. It's not a matter of Air Force, Army, Navy. It's a matter of doing the right thing. And there are 2-3 things. One, this cross-pollination has to happen. Ministry staffed just by civil servants and service officers will never have that zing to deliver national security needs. We need young minds, new minds outside the system who question you. Bahar, the office of the CDS, the chiefs, the Raksha Mantri, has got a number of civilian advisors, domain specialists. With the innovation mein, they have created an innovation core, which is led by people like the CTO Palantir. So Israelis to do their reforms much faster. The Americans are slow, but when they wake up, they do stuff well. India, we still have, look at this office of CDS now. It has been what, now in existence for 4-5 years? The real outcomes are not there. Theatre command, digital theatres, our professional military education has to become joint. If your every course is single service, how will the generals ever think jointly? In fact, the US, when they did their Barry Goldwater course, they reformed their whole professional military education, made it joint. आप हमारे यहाँ देखो, अभी सिंदूर हुआ, Air Force briefing, Army briefing, Navy briefing. When will this end? When will there be a joint briefing? DG Stratcom, who has the ear of the CDS, synthesizes the pictures of the 3 services and presents a joint briefing. It's a matter of thinking, soch. Jointmanship is less structures, more culture, thinking. We set up the first tri-service academy in the world, National Defense Academy. I'm from India. I'm very proud of that institution. At 18 years, you were joint. And then series of courses, they make you unjoined. And then now try to make you joint when you are a die-in-wool general. You'll never be joint. So it is, I mean, that's commonsensical as that. At 18, you are joint. Then you encourage, what is the word? Non-jointness or single service approaches through your career. And suddenly you want people to become joint again. So why can't the Defense Services Staff College become joint? Why can't the High Command course become joint? So it's very complex. It is culture, thinking. The Americans also didn't do it till they had the embarrassment of Eagle Claw. It was an embarrassment, national embarrassment. So, these are the things. Of course, we can become like Israel. We can be better than the United States. It needs these kind of changes. That's why
Hmm.
we sometimes don't realize what a monumental step the CDS DMA was. It was monumental in our context. The political leadership has to be given full credit. Thereafter, we have not delivered, at least as much as we should.
Hmm. I guess these wars are going to teach us quite a bit to kind of incorporate. But one thing I must say, sir, I don't know if you'll agree or not. Operation Sindoor was a beautiful example of a theater fight.
No, so Sindoor was a wonderful example of the military getting together, but the lessons being drawn from Sindoor is what I have a problem with. That we now Sindoor, because air power was important, we don't need theater commands. In fact, the thing is that Sindoor air power AD did well. Now let's them take them to a new high through theater commands.
Yeah, it should be that. Absolutely, sir. Agreed.
Sindoor is a wonderful success. Let's build on it. But if you don't build on it, reverses also happen very fast. You just have to see history. So that's my whole thing.
Actually, I'm going to squeeze in one more if you don't mind, sir. Sindoor had some very clear military objectives. We knew the escalation ladder, we knew this and that. Now, military and political leadership was on top. I mean, they were on point as far as the ladder is concerned. Here, I am not sure who was controlling the ladder. I have no idea because in Israel, Iran, it wasn't anywhere in anyone's control. Nobody knew which direction. The bigger power normally tries to control the ladder. Here, it wasn't until the last moment when America came in. And today, by the way, there's a New York Times article which is now claiming that Trump's own insiders were shocked when he said ceasefire.
No.
So,
okay, so good. So 2 quick points. Sindoor was an unprecedented success, at least in the politico-military sense.
yeah,
And this is what happens. Just because you had a CDS, your integrated options were evolved in 3 days. I was a brigadier in Parakram and all those times. Services would make their single service options for a month and then coordinate. I mean, I've seen those absolutely dismal. So in that sense, Sindoor has been a great success. Now, this operation, what is it? Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion. See, you're right, absolutely. Vance was called to Fox. So when he was traveling from White House to Fox, he didn't know रास्ते में उसने ceasefire करके tweet कर दिया था. So moment he lands there, उसका जो interviewer है says, JD, do you know? He says no. तो उसका staff लेके आता है tweet. Now he cleverly twists it. He says, that this is Trump. We trust his instincts. But the issue is that the vice president didn't know when he leaves White House for Fox News, whatever is the time of travel, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, उसमें एक tweet हो जाता है. But see now, to be fair to Trump, let's go to the background. Trump 1.0. A president is elected. But his whole, the NSC, James Mattis, in fact, you read McMaster's book. McMaster says that Trump was done in by his team. There was massive infighting.
John Bolton and all these guys, yeah.
So, wo jo karna chahe, this whole what they call the deep state, didn't let him do it. Right or wrong, but didn't let him do it. So this time he said that I will first sort out the deep state. उसने deep state को sort out कर दिया. He doesn't listen to NSCS and those big memos and pros and cons. So in one sense it is good. First time he tried that. कितने यार, there were 4 or 5 generals only. James Mattis, McMaster, the traditional guys. And to be fair to Trump, they were the brightest chaps. Mattis had a wonderful reputation. McMaster had a wonderful reputation. He got in talent. But अब उसका काम नहीं कर रहे थे. He was pushing back. Now he's got his own team. And he's also shrewd. He knows. देखो, Monday to Friday he plays Israel and Washington. Saturday, Sunday he's back with his base. और जो हफ्ते में करता है, he sends it back to them. देखो मैंने ये किया, ये मेरे को नहीं करने दे रहे. So as long as his political capital is intact, Look at the specialists. The specialists had all predicted recession. It's not happened so far. So Trump, his instincts are shrewd. I don't agree with many things that he says.
Yeah.
I try to give you the reasoning on this thing also. So he and Netanyahu are trying to outwit each other, but Netanyahu is also smart. So Netanyahu ने ये कर दिया और he got the go ahead from Trump कि भाई देखो अच्छा ये जो एक spin है ना कि were the Iranians actually moving towards a nuclear? Tulsi Gabbard seems to think no. She has better intelligence than Netanyahu. But Netanyahu spun it around. 2 months, 1 month. And I think when he was pressurizing Trump said, when he did it, Trump got surprised by his success. And once that happened, he climbed onto the bandwagon. So it is more complex than that. In our case, since they're not international allies, it was all a domestic thing. Our politico-military convergence, the target array, the leveraging of the escalatory ladder was all brilliant. That there is no doubt.
These guys somehow couldn't really control. It was just all over the place, and probably because of instinct, because of the deep state, as you're saying. But as just a military operation, when I look at it, I found our operation to be, and I'm not saying that because मैं भारतीय हूँ, but हमारा operation was much more streamlined, much more well organized. I think the military was fully in command. The political leadership was fully in command. There was no cross-firing here and there. In spite of it being a chaotic democracy that we are, we are also famous for our leaks. So, in spite of that, it was.
Sindoor, I have been saying, Sindoor has been a phenomenal success. In fact, if you ask me, it is as successful as 1971. Even in 1971, we didn't puncture West Pakistan as we did this time.
Yeah,
we really hit him hard, and we hit him where it matters.
71, 91, brilliant military operations. The first Gulf War, beautiful. Created a new normal. I think Sindoor created a new normal as well with regards to precision strikes and,
Sindoor was pretty brilliant. No doubt.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. For me, this was a learning and a great experience to always have a conversation.
Thank
you.
To
the audience.
Thank you, Aadi. All the best. All the best to you. Bye.
To the audience, my request is please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share this with your friends and families. General Shukla has given us a very, very beautiful insight. So let's learn something from out of it. And आप लोग इस channel की तरफ contribute भी कर सकते हैं. QR code या फिर PayPal या फिर super stickers, super chats. नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत.